Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. I'm so glad that you are here. I am your host, Leah Rowling, and I'm so excited to introduce you to a very, very special guest. We are going to bring you into this conversation. It's kind of a wrap up from a conversation that we had, gosh, was it a couple of months ago? But this whole conversation around the idea that most of us are not struggling because life is bad. We're struggling because it's good. Good job, good family, good home, good routines. And yet there's something inside that kind of still whispers that you're meant for more, right? You're meant for more. My guest today, Simone Knego. Did I say
Close.
that?
Knego.
Close. Knego.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the
Knego.
K. You got the K, which is
I
great.
got the K right. Knego knows this truth deeply. She's an international speaker, award-winning author, confidence coach, really here in this world helping women, right? Remember who they are and lead from kind of that unshakable place. She lives her message through what she calls kitchen table leadership, which I think is fantastic, which is really just leading through everyday choices. And we're going to find out a little bit more about that as we continue the conversations. She's a wife of 32 years and
Yes.
a mom of 6 and a dog mom of 3. She has a new book. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Real Confidence, a simple guide to, let me get this right. A simple guide to go from unsure to unshakable. It launches in February. That's exciting. And I cannot wait for this conversation. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Yay. Okay. So, I love to start here. What has your becoming journey looked like? When I think about your becoming journey, I always think about the time, and maybe it's an evolution, when we stopped chasing like external validation and started believing kind of in our own inherent worth, and then started our own becoming journey. What was that like for you?
It took a long time for me to get there. So I changed my mind many times in my life. I started off as a CPA. I went back to school to be a teacher. I flipped houses. I worked in medical sales. I did all kinds of things. Could not figure out what my purpose was. I had 6 kids, still did not feel like I was making a difference in the world. I struggled so much with self-doubt. I call it the what if whisperer. So that voice in my head is, sometimes I call her Sally, but what if whisperer. And it really took a moment where I did something completely out of my comfort zone. I was asked to climb a mountain and I said yes. And that kind of changed everything. Not kind of, it really changed everything for me because I wasn't waiting for someone else to say, oh, yeah, it's okay to do that, or you're going to do a great job. I actually got more of that. Do you really think you're going to make it to the top? That was a lot of the feedback I got. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is why I live my life like this, that I'm so worried about what everybody else has to say, what everybody else thinks, that I'm not living. I'm like waiting for approval, waiting for permission. And really that experience changed everything, where I realized I don't need external validation. I need to be me. I need to embrace all of the things about me and figure out what I want for my life. And that's exactly what I did.
Mm, I love it. I love it so much. Um, I also love your real method. And there's so many things I want to talk about the real method. I want to talk about your book. I want to talk about uh, um, table leadership. So let's talk about your real method, right? Can you give us kind of a quick roadmap for our listeners as to the real method, maybe how it came to be, and what each pillar actually does for kind of our self-belief, which I think is kind of that underlying foundation to confidence.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it came about really from this experience, figuring out how did I go from really doubting every move to saying, you know what, I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like I am going to be me and I'm going to live my best life. And it was about being real. So hence the word real. It stands for respect yourself, embrace your failures, ask yourself what you want, and live without limits. And I started with respect because I think that's the most important place to start, that we need self respect before anything else. We were taught to respect our elders, our peers. Never once do I remember being taught that the most important person to respect is yourself. And so the idea of setting boundaries, saying no, saying yes to the things that fill your cup, all of those things, but we wait for someone else to tell us that it's okay. And we wait for someone else to say, oh, yeah, you're doing a really good job. None of that stuff matters, right? And a lot of times we hear people say, well, I'm going to demand respect. It's more important to demonstrate it, right? If you respect yourself, people will follow. The other
Mm,
people will follow. So that's really how I started down that path. And if you want me to go a little bit more into the other parts of it, I don't know how much time we have.
not enough, that's for
Okay.
sure. Um, and maybe we just have to have you back on the show, which would be fantastic. So in these four pillars, where do you see like humanity get the most stuck? Like, I mean, and secondly, if there's this, if someone's in a season of doubt, okay, what's kind of their first micro move to help her, him get unstuck as it relates to this method?
So I think the where people get stuck across the board is asking yourself what you want. We
Oh,
have done, right? I mean, we have done
yes.
so much for other people our entire lives that a lot of times we forget who we are. We've kind
Mm,
of lost our way. We've been going from point A to point B with our head down and not saying, oh, is this really where I want to be? Is this really what I want to be doing? Do I feel good about the things that are happening?
mm,
For a lot of women, especially women, when you say, what do you want? Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do I want? Like, I'm doing what I have to do. Well, no, that's not living, right? I mean, and so that I think when we across the board, it really is where people
mm.
struggle the most because we don't know how to just because we think that if we do something that we want to do, it's selfish, and it's so
Yes,
not true. It's so not true.
yes, yes. It's so like it's I mean, and I know that you're an international speaker, and I'm sure you've asked this of your audience. And these are this is an audience full of people in personal development, in self-mastery, in this space. And even then, you ask the question, okay, by a show of hands, like truthfully, honestly, vulnerably, raise your hand if you know what it is that you want. And you look out, and it might be 5% if we're lucky. And these are people in this space that don't. It was interesting because I kind of had my guess as to which one
Hmm.
you've experienced is the one that gets people the most stuck. And that would have been it for
Yeah.
us too, on my side. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love
And you
it.
asked me about micro moves.
Oh yeah,
So
yes.
I actually want to give you two.
Yay!
Okay, so the
Okay, write
words
these
we,
down, you guys.
yes, the words we say about ourselves, the words we say to ourselves really matter. So, first of all, something I used to do to myself all the time and about myself. Oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just Rob's wife. I'm just a volunteer, justifying my existence. So, number one, drop the just. Start paying attention
Yes.
to how often you say that. You'll be shocked when you really pay attention. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I just said the word just like 10 times in the last hour about describing myself and what
Mm,
I'm doing with my life right now. Oh, I'm just working on this article. I'm just take back your power. Drop the just. The second one is a little mindset hack that I have that I created called Control Alt Delete. Very, you know, very creative, right? But I was really thinking about how I was on my computer one day and my computer was frozen. Back in the day, those are the three keys you hit. Now you just hold the power button for a long time. My kids had to explain that to me. So I,
Is that why it doesn't work?
yes, it now it brings up some kind of weird screen. It doesn't work anymore. Yeah,
Thank
no,
you for
you,
that. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
power button.
Power button. Ah,
So yeah, which is a good one too. Hey, but
love it.
that it really made me think about, okay, when my mind freezes, how can I reset that? And so
Yeah.
I went back to that idea of control alt delete. So the first part is control your thoughts. Now, you're going to have negative thoughts. Like I said, I have the what if whisperer. So you're going to have negative thoughts that come into your head, but you have to understand, are they real? Do they
Mhm.
really matter? So that's the control piece. It's deciding what you're going to do with those thoughts because most of the time, the stories you tell yourself are not true and they're not valuable at all. The second part is alt, which is alternative. Tell yourself a better story.
Mhm.
Instead of saying, I can't, I can. Instead of what if I fail, how about when I succeed? There's always an alternative. And if we can tell ourselves negative things all day long and believe them, we can absolutely tell ourselves positive things all day long and believe them.
Mm.
And the last part is delete. Delete the anything that doesn't serve you. Delete the comparison game. Delete the belief that you're not enough and replace all those thoughts and move forward because you are more than enough. And so anytime I get in this negative spiral, I ask myself those questions. Is this real? Like, am I just making something up in my head? I did it yesterday, as a matter of fact. I was at an event and I was like, why didn't my friend ask me to participate? Like all of my other friends' names were on this list that gave money, and my friend didn't even ask me. And I was like, this is such a ridiculous thing. Control Alt Delete it. And obviously the answer was she thinks I'm too busy. So that was the conversation was please ask anyways, but I could have gotten in my head for hours thinking that, oh my gosh, she didn't include me because of something I had no clue about.
Right. Or whatever we would make up. Oh my God.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Control Alt Delete, friends. It's so good. And I love the just drop. Like I love it. My word is should.
Mm.
I right. How many times do we say should? And truly, like I'm gonna be onto myself to see how many times I say just. I know I do a little, and I even use a little, like I do a little workout in the morning. I call it my little 300. So maybe I'll look at my littles. Like, oh, it's
Mm.
just a little thing. It's just a little 300. It's a little this, it's a little that. So I don't know. So what is your just? What is your little? What is it that's um, robbing you of your power? Because as we talk on this show all the time, words matter. Words matter. Okay. Let's talk about this leadership, this idea that leadership, and I love this idea that leadership starts at your kitchen table, right? Not in the boardroom, not in a Zoom call, but at your kitchen table. What does that mean what does that mean to you?
So it's the everyday moments. We've been sold this narrow view of what leadership is. You have to have the title, you have to be in the boardroom. And that's what we think of. When we think of a leader, what do you think about, right? I
No.
don't really think that we haven't ever been told that these different things are leadership, so we've never thought about them as that. But think about around the kitchen table when whether you have children or not, dealing with the situations you have in everyday life. So many of your decisions happen around the kitchen table, right? The legs of the table are what keep it going. And as we
Mhm.
sit around and think about, okay, what are we doing next? I mean, even my husband and I were having a conversation last night about work. It's a huge leadership decision. It's not
Mhm.
just an everyday conversation. So for me, leadership is what happens behind the scenes in the messy moments, comforting a child while you're trying to write a check at the same time, right? I mean, all of those different things, those are leadership moments. And we have to start treating them like that because, again, as people are watching us, we love to say the do as I say, not as I do, right? But
Mhm.
that's not real life. It is
Oh,
so important that because managing matters, modeling matters more than managing, right? The
yeah.
way we step out into the world, that's what people see. I mean, we can think whatever we want, but if we don't behave that way, then what are we actually doing?
Yeah. It's it's so fantastic because I think we were all sold this idea that we are made. Leaders are made.
Mm,
And I so badly want to disrupt that for all the humans in the world. I think we were born And then I think we were all born leaders, and that's the amazing part. The not so amazing part about that is that somewhere along the line, someone told us that we weren't, and we believed them. And so, to your point, I believe that leadership starts with self. That if you woke up with breath this morning, you are a leader, and it doesn't matter if you have a family of six and three dogs and a husband and a wife of 35 years. What matters in that is that you lead yourself first, right? Because how you lead yourself is literally how you lead, everything else, your team, your family, your energy, your influence, right? It's to your point, it's that those quiet, messy, unseen moments that really reveal who you are. It's what you choose when no one's watching, when you don't have to quote unquote make that, that quote unquote right decision, right? So
Yeah.
from your perspective, what would what in your mind are three ordinary choices that compound into extraordinary confidence, right? What would you
Yeah.
say?
So I would say one thing would be how you interact with your family, right? I mean, I've seen this with so many people. They don't even realize they're doing it. So the conversations you have, for example, or the things you say about yourself. I had a moment where I was really down on myself. I had gained weight. I was getting ready for an event and just kind of berating myself in front of the mirror. And my daughter walked in and she said, "First of all, Mom, you're beautiful. Second of all, you're giving me a complex. How do you expect me to love
Uh,
my body when you don't even like your own?" So,
mm,
again, I think we have to understand. So, number one, we have to understand that the words we use, we either step into our power or we take it away. And it affects other people as well. So when we're being so hard on ourselves, our kids see it, right? So that's like one big thing.
mm,
Also, I think positive affirmations are really important. So when we talk about how words matter, I would say 10 years ago, I would have told you that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It
mm,
works. It works. I do them every day. And it really is what helps me step forward when I'm not sure of something. So that for me leads to a lot of confidence.
mm.
And the last thing is really looking at our mindset and saying, what are we really thinking about right now? Right? Is this real? I mean, it goes back to control, alt, delete,
Yeah,
and we have a choice every morning when we wake up. We can choose to be miserable. We can choose to be happy. Yes, there are outside factors, but in general, we have a choice.
yeah,
So think about how you want to move forward, and that's how you're going to move forward. The stories you tell yourself are the life you're going to live.
yeah. Oh, it's it's so good, and it does remind me of Viktor Frankl's book, and he reminds us all that the last of the human freedoms is one's decision to choose our attitude,
Mm,
right? And so what's the energy that we bring to the table? What's the energy that we bring to the mirror, right? When we're observing ourselves, what's the energy that we bring in between door frames? Like what is that energy? Because it speaks louder than any words, right? That,
yeah.
that that you bring forward. It's so good. It's so good.
And when you are around other people, you realize like, do I want to move forward in my life? When you have one person that's really unhappy, everybody else is unhappy around them, right? You don't
Mhm.
want to be that person. Like go for it as your true self. Be happy because there are so many amazing things that are happening in our lives. We don't always see them that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. Is there maybe like one boundary, one ritual? You talk so much of these things in your work, and we'll get to how the audience finds you. But is there a boundary or a ritual that you would impart and invite the listeners to participate in that can help them become a more effective leader, whether it be at home or in their errand running or in a boardroom?
I think one of the biggest things is learning to say no without feeling guilty. It's a
As a complete
very
sentence.
yeah, it's very hard to do. But what I've realized is every time I say no, it opens the door to a yes, something
Mhm.
that I really want. And so
Yeah.
often I used to call myself the yes girl. I used to say yes to everything for a couple of reasons. One, yeah, right. I'm in recovery.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yes. We should have a recovery
right,
group.
right. One part is that I felt that I had to. I had this facade up and that I could do all the things and I should be doing all the things. There's the should right there
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what everybody else thinks that I'm capable of, whether I wanted it or not. I mean, I was the brownie troop leader. I loved that. I was the girls' trip because I picked up donuts every day. I did all the things that instead of just saying, why am I doing all this? I don't need to be doing all this. But also, I think that when we look at saying yes, sometimes we're afraid that we're not going to be invited back if we say no one time, right? That
yes.
oh, if I say no, they're not going to include me. Okay, that's ridiculous, right? Don't say yes unless you want to say yes. And so, really understanding you can say no, right? It's two letters. No,
Mhm.
no, thank you. And you can say it in a way that is, thank you. Right now, my schedule is really full, but thank you so much for asking me to do this. That's really an honor that you asked me, but I just can't do it right now.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah. Yes, it can be nice. It
Yes.
right? It can be the nicest thing, especially when you're not saying yes and lying about it, right?
Right.
So, right? I I love it, and yeah, it's I think we have been conditioned to say yes
Mhm.
because we have equated our willingness to be pleasing um, to our worth, right? As long as we can continue to be pleasing, and as long as we can continue to be likable and lovable, and as long as we acquiesce when we don't want to, then we're good. And all of that bundle of nonsense and lies equated to our worth,
Yeah.
right? And if we
I'm
can think about it that way, yeah, go ahead.
I'm working on a speech right now, and I don't remember the exact statistics, but it's something crazy. Like girls growing up, 86% of them were taught to be nice. Only 48% were taught to give an opinion on something, or and it's so okay. Yes, let's just be nice, but let's not stand our ground on anything. And I thought, wow, that kind of says it all. Another one that this one is just because I love the statistic. I think it's so crazy. It's like only 4% of women believe that they're beautiful. Okay. In our
Oh,
country, in our country, 65% of people believe in aliens, yet only 4% of women believe that they're beautiful, right? Hello. Come on, ladies.
oh,
We gotta do better.
yes, yes, we do. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is nuts. 4%. 4%. That means that we've got 96% of the world that we need to get in front of, Simone, and and share our mirror
Yeah.
with them because that's crazy. That I had not heard of that. It's nuts. Um, okay, we got work today. We got work
Yeah.
to do.
Yes, we do. We have a lot of work to do.
Okay. When we think about shifting, you talk about this, but when you talk about shifting from performing confidence to kind of embodying it, what's the difference in your mind? Like, and how can we tell which one we're living?
So, are you living it for yourself or are you living it for someone else? So, for me,
Mhm.
for years, I had this facade up basically that I was strong, I was tough. I didn't cry for years.
Mhm.
And I had a moment where I was at this women's event and I broke down crying and my friends did not know what to do with me. They were like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening here?" Because I had never cried before. But that was like when I opened up and said, "These are all the things that I struggle with." And so I think when we tell our truth and we're living right where we want to be, then we're not pretending anymore. And but if you're constantly doing things for other people's approval, if you're constantly wearing stuff you don't want to wear because that's what your friends do, that is performing. That is not being real with yourself.
Mm. Yeah, so that's just the question, right? Just
Yeah.
are you doing it for others or are you doing it for self? And if you are doing it for others, do you like your reasons?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
100%.
Okay. Let's make this practical for anyone listening who's kind of stuck in the I'm not enough loop. And I do want to offer up that I believe that, and I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm guessing it's like 99.9% of people inherently struggle with that I'm not enough argument. And I think it was either Brene Brown or somebody, but when she was researching it, she basically said, truly the only people in the world that don't struggle with "I'm not enough" are sociopaths.
Mm,
I think that's what she
yeah.
said. So if if you struggle with it, great news.
Yes.
You're not a sociopath.
Yes.
And if you don't, well, then you're not probably listening to this podcast because you're perfect. So why then are our imperfections, right? The parts of us that feel not enough, that whisper for more. Why is this actually our superpower?
Oh, that's interesting. So I would say, first of all, we are so worried about comparing ourselves to others instead of just stepping into who we really are. Is it a superpower that we always feel bad about ourselves? It actually helps us move forward, right? That idea of fear is a
Mm-hmm.
protective thing, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand, again, what's real and what's not. And so stepping into that and saying, I don't, I'm not falling for this, right? I understand how I need to move forward. I understand what's going on in my life instead of saying, "Oh, I'm just going to pretend and everything will be okay." It
Yes.
doesn't work that. You don't fake it until you make it. You say it until you become it.
Yes. 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 You say it till you become it. It's so brilliant, and I like to think that we are all imperfectly perfect. And I think
Yeah.
when we have all of these judgments on our perceived imperfections, right? Then we go to the way other side and we just fine it away, and our nervous system knows the difference. And so it's just it just feels more truthful to know that we weren't ever supposed to be perfect,
Yeah.
right?
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing, right? And
And
the root of the word perfect is to perfect, right? Which means that it's a journey.
it's a work in progress.
A work in progress.
We're all a work in progress.
I love it. Okay. So this has been absolutely incredible. So we walked through your real method. We explored why leadership begins at home, at the kitchen table. You gave us you gave us some powerful tools: control, alt, delete, or just power down.
Yeah.
Power down. Um, drop the just. So good. Um, I have to say you're beautiful, because if you're listening and you're part of the 96 that doesn't think they are, you are.
Yes.
For anyone who wants to dive deeper, like in your work, how can they connect with you? How can they grab your confidence toolkit? How can they get your book that's going to be released in February?
So
Share.
so my website, SimoneKnego.com, SIMONEKNEGO, and my book is called Real Confidence, A Simple Guide to Go from Unsure to Unshakable, and you can find it at realconfidencebook.com. And I'm on all the social media channels, so you can find me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. It was a pleasure. We'll have to have you back. I think I love how your story is just so relatable, and everyone can relate to that moment where they had to wake up and they had to realize that their worth wasn't outside of themselves, and
Hmm.
something like, I have my worth becoming journey, you have yours, and it's so it's just such a pleasure and a privilege to have you on here sharing yours. So friends, if today's conversation stirred something in you, um pick one pillar, right? Raise, embrace, ask, live, practice it today. You don't need a new life to feel extraordinary. You just need to lead the one that you already have on purpose.
Hmm.
Until next time, my beautiful friends, we'll see you then. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.